August hockey content, Nick Robertson is a Leaf! Still, there were a bunch of players who filed for salary arbitration. This morning, only one of those players remained, and that was Nick Robertson of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Basically, what happens when you go to salary arbitration is you go to a judge and you go, I should make this much because I'm very good. And if you're the team, you go, we want this player, but also he's bad and doesn't deserve that much. It's generally an unpleasant experience and nobody likes it. And it's there if you need it, but it's best to avoid it. Yesterday, Elliot Friedman reported that the Toronto Maple Leafs had offered Nick Robertson $1.2 million. Nick Robertson had asked for $2.25 million. Now, that actually sounds like a big gap, right? It's over $1 million. Well, recently, Dylan Samberg was about to get salary arbitration or go to salary arbitration with the Winnipeg Jets, and he was asking for $6 million. The Jets were offering him $2.5. They settled on a 3-year contract at $5.75. The player always goes in asking for a lot. The team always goes in offering not very much. That's the whole reason they're going to salary arbitration. And even though it took until the last minute because arbitration was supposed to happen tomorrow, Nick Robertson and the Toronto Maple Leafs agree to a 1-year contract, $1.825 million per season. Well, for this season. Now, I've already seen people out there saying this is an overpay, and I've seen this is a huge overpay, and I'm here to tell you, you're obviously not paying attention. Christian Dvorak just signed for, what was it, $5.1 million with the Flyers? He had 12 goals in 82 games last year. Nick Robertson had 15 in 69. Now, I know they're not the same player. One's bigger, one plays center, blah, blah. But the whole point is guys with the rising salary cap are getting so much money. And this is why I think Brad Treliving's been pretty smart, because look at all the new guys on the roster. Who are they? Matias Maccelli. He's a bet, but he's a bet who's currently on a contract. The fact that he's already on a contract keeps the number down. Dakota Joshua. He's a bet, but he's a bet who's already on a contract. Dude, even Henry Thrun, who they got for Ryan Reeves, already on a contract. Nick Waugh, who they got in the Mitch Marner weird little thing that happened with Vegas, on a contract. They went into this offseason with all 6 of their defenders from last year locked up already. And nearly everyone they've gotten with a realistic chance of making the roster on opening night has been through trade, and they're already on a deal. Dude, even Pontus Holmberg, who they easily could have re-signed if they wanted to, he was a restricted free agent. They said, no, he's going to get too much money, and they just let him go. The Leafs have signed very few guys, including their own guys. Matthew Knies, that's pretty much it. And Pezzetta. You might be looking at Bobby McMahon's contract. He scored 20 goals, $1.35 million. And then there's Nick Robertson. Now he's making a little over 1.8. That might make it seem like an overpay, but he's very young. He has a realistic shot at scoring 20 goals if he were to play more games next year. And the cap is going up and up and up, and salaries are going up and up and up. Dude, this is not a contract worth getting worked up over. Also worth mentioning, they have cap space. How much cap space? It depends who you ask. Cap Wages has a very interesting little chart, sort of a breakdown of all the Leaf salary cap hits. And it says Toronto has $1.137 million in cap space for next season with 15 forwards, 7D, and 2 goalies. There would need to be additional moves to clear the log jam at forward. So you might be like, oh, a little over 1.1 million in cap space. That's not very much. Okay, so this roster that they posted is illegal. You can't, they could not begin the season with this. There's too many players on it. You're allowed to have a maximum roster size of 23. This is 24 guys. And Cap Wages knows that. In order to figure some things out, how much cap space the Leafs realistically have, you have to start guessing a little bit, which is what Puckpedia did. Puckpedia said after signing Robertson at $1.825 million, the Leafs have 1.9 in projected cap space with 23 active roster players. That's 14 forwards, 7D, 2 goalies. Projected roster includes Pezzetta and Myers sent to the minors. And keep in mind, that's one, a guess, and two, a guess that hinges on the Leafs doing nothing between now and the first game of the season. That means no trades, no other signings, no one getting hurt. Realistically, the Leafs cap number is closer to what Puckpedia said at 1.9 mil. If they were to trade someone like Järnkrok or Kampf, it could be even higher. Heck, Robertson asked for a trade last summer. Maybe it's him. You know what? Let's focus on Robertson for a sec. He's a restricted free agent, right? Like, so why would they trade a guy who they just signed? Well, restricted free agents don't have a ton of agency. They don't have a ton of rights in the NHL. Last summer, Robertson, on July 1st, for some reason, was like, trade me. And the Leafs were like, no, because they don't have to. Go ahead and sign an offer sheet if you want. Oh, are there none out there? Well, then guess you're stuck. Even if you did sign one, the Leafs would have the option to match it. And that's assuming he was even eligible for an offer sheet. I'm not sure that he was. But the Leafs said, listen, stay with us. We're going to give you opportunities. Are you going to play every day? Probably not. No, but stay with us and we'll put you in the lineup as often as possible. We'll look for opportunities for you. We'll put you in a position to succeed like he often was on a line with Max Domi and Bobby McMahon. There was an enormous defensive liability, but so fun on offense. And what did it lead to? He more than doubled his salary from last year, making a hair under 2 mil. Okay, maybe over 100 grand isn't a hair. It is for an NHL player, not for like you and me, but like it's, yeah. Here's the problem with Nick Robertson. He's kind of been in our minds for a long time. He was drafted in 2019. He was drafted pre-COVID. But guess what? On the day that I'm shooting this, he's 23 years old. Now, he's going to be 24 when the season begins. His birthday is September 11th. But there is a real solid chance that this player continues to get better, continues to get bigger, continues to get faster. I really liked the improvements in his skating last season. He's got to be better at, like, I want him shooting, but he's got to be better at creating plays. 7 assists in 69 games on a largely offensive line is unacceptable. And I was about to say something along the lines of he needs to make himself more useful in the playoffs. He only played 3 games. He had 2 points. What we're seeing is a player figuring it out in real time. From a draft class that was one of several completely screwed by a once-in-a-century event. Robertson had 55 goals in 46 games. I said 55 goals in 46 games. His final year in the OHL. And the only reason he didn't have more is because the season was cut short. Even more terrifying, he had another year of junior eligibility. But he didn't play because the OHL didn't play at all. He was one of the players who was allowed to play in the American Hockey League as a teenager, along with guys like Quinton Byfield. Now, if you look at his AHL numbers over the years, he can score at will in that league. But on top of the development hiccups that COVID caused, Robertson kept getting hurt with injuries like breaking his leg. Listen, he's got an NHL shot. It's a real good shot. He can use it and can score with it. We've seen it. He's a dog out there and works tenaciously. His skating is improving. His defense couldn't not improve. Frankly, it's what kept him out of the lineup most nights. It got better. It got better. Consistency was the issue. It became a hilarious bit that Robertson would get healthy scratched, and then you knew the next game he comes back, he's scoring. He did it at an alarming rate. But then when he would play 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive games, it fizzled. The NHL isn't comprised neatly of 700 or 800 players who are all NHL players and then there's nobody else. There are lots of players in the American Hockey League, in the KHL, in the Swedish League, in the Swiss League, all over the world who could play in the NHL and perform in the NHL. Maybe have a good game, maybe have a good week, maybe have a good month, maybe have a good season. But consistency is going to be the name of the game for Nick Robertson this year. Staying in the lineup as much as humanly possible. The coach seems to like him. The back of the net seems to like him. How's he going to find his spot in the lineup regularly on a team that already has too many forwards? Well, that's the big question. He was the Leafs' best player coming out of the preseason last year. It doesn't mean anything. It's lovely and made us all happy, and I mean, you might as well score since you're on the ice, But when the season began, it's not like it continued and he was scoring a goal or two per game. I have all the confidence in the world, and I'm sure the Leafs do too, in Robertson's ability with the puck. It's the other stuff and not getting pancaked that he's got to work on. So what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. What's Robertson's season going to be like? Do you think he ends the season with the Leafs? Who do you think the Leafs end up losing? If they lose anyone, maybe they just send guys to the minors and no one claims them off waivers. Let me know in the comments down below. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends Nick Robertson is a forward on the Leafs.